So in today's video, I'm going to give you a tour of my Star Wars books. I last did this maybe 4 or 5 years ago. At that time, I had just got this specific bookcase and was basically able to fit all my Star Wars books on this one case and kind of had my own little Star Wars bookcase in my own personal library. Before I get into what's fixing to change, let me give you a kind of a wide view of what my Star Wars bookcase looks like at the moment, and in general, what my entire little mini personal library looks like as well. So here's kind of a wide view of my full library, so you kind of get an idea of what all my books look like. That very bottom shelf on the rightmost bookcase is actually some additional Star Wars books I have that doesn't fit on my main Star Wars bookcase, which my Star Wars books are right there. So here's a look at my Star Wars bookcase, kind of a wide view, so you can kind of see what the entire case looks like. As you can see, I am basically now maxed out at space on this specific case. So basically where I'm at now is mainly because of the Star Wars High Republic series, which I actually love, but produced a ton of books. I have maxed out this case, and I actually already had to move a lot of my more random Star Wars books to a separate shelf that I kind of mentioned earlier when I was showing you that wide view of all my books. And I mainly moved over there stuff that's more like the reference books, like The Art of the Force Awakens, or The Art of the Mandalorian, or The Art of the High Republic, or my Star Wars Shakespeare books, Star Wars 100 Objects, a lot of stuff that are not necessarily novels, but more reference books. I guess the only exception to that would be the Star Wars Shakespeare books. But I basically had to move those to a different case to make room for all my Star Wars novels. But actually with the very last book in the High Republic series, I pretty much maxed this bookcase out that you're currently looking at. I think I maybe can have room for maybe one more book. If I get rid of that little Star Wars book art that you're looking at there, I can probably fit a few more, but I kind of like having that there. So I think I'm going to have to go back to what I used to do before I got this case and actually have a case that's like half regular novels and then half Star Wars stuff to kind of start breaking up. So I think I'll no longer be able to keep all my Star Wars novels kind of self-contained in their own case, because I really don't have room to add a bigger shelf unless I'm able to do something that I would like to do at some point, but I won't be able to do probably anytime soon. I would love to turn this closet door you see right next to that case to actually have a shelf in front of it, and almost turn that door into an additional bookcase. I've actually researched that some. Maybe can do it in the future, but not at the moment. So I kind of wanted to do a little tour of my Star Wars bookcase before I began to have to force my Star Wars books novels to kind of spill over into additional non-Star Wars themed bookcase. So this is kind of like a little last tour before I lose all my ability to have all my Star Wars novels on one case. So I'm going to give you a little overview of all the Star Wars books I currently have. And before I start that, I should say there is additional reason why I like keeping that Star Wars book art, and because it marks easy dividing line between my collections. Above that are the old Star Wars Expanded Universe books, so basically the pre-Star Wars from when Disney bought it. So that's all my Expanded Universe. Below that are all my post-Disney Star Wars books. So it's a good dividing line between, Expanded Universe, now called Legends, and the current canon books like the High Republic. So it's a very good dividing line that makes it very easy to organize around. Beyond that, the books are actually organized by timeline when they happen. So the older books are first, and it goes to more recent. So, for example, in the new stuff, you'll see the High Republic stuff, which is in timeline-wise, it's set the farthest back. To the very last books would be stuff that happens, around the new Star Wars trilogy books, like The Force Awakens. The new Star Wars movies, like The Force Awakens. The book's kind of built around that, because that's my general organizing principle behind this case. Alright, so now for the close-up of the books, and I'll just kind of go over it. I'm not going to mention all of them. One thing you will notice there, really the only book that I have multiple copies of is Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn, because it is my favorite Star Wars book. So I've collected different versions of it, different covers and stuff like that. I really love the anniversary edition of it that has annotated notes on it. It's really, really cool. And that one is actually autographed by Timothy Zahn. I was privileged to be on a panel with him at DragonCon a few years ago, and he was nice enough to autograph that copy when I got to be on the panel. Amazing guy, really nice to talk to, and it was amazing to be on a panel with him. But again, here you see more of the old Expanded Universe books. There is the Young Jedi Knights, kind of young adult series, which is probably really the first Star Wars books I ever read. Got me into reading Star Wars books when I was probably like in middle school. And then Heir to the Empire is the thing that really got me into reading Star Wars books as I got older, and basically began transition to reading more novels as I got older and stuff. And then Heir to the Empire really made me fall in love with reading Star Wars books. It made me addicted. As you see, I have well over 100 Star Wars books in my collection at the moment. So we're still in the Expanded Universe section here. There's a lot of these books, at some point, I would love to go back and reread. I haven't read a lot of these in a while. Heir to the Empire and the original Thrawn trilogy is the only one I've read in recent years again. But I kind of would like to reread some of these again. It's just been so long. I would like to touch base on this when I have more. Maybe an open schedule. I don't have anything I'm dying to read at the moment. I might dive back into some of the old Expanded Universe books. So Crucible will be the last one timeline-wise I have in the Expanded Universe, and now you transition into the High Republic series. So there would be definitely Phase 2, which is a prequel to Phase 1 of the High Republic series. There we get Light of the Jedi. The High Republic series just wrapped up, and I just mentioned I kind of want to reread some of the old Expanded Universe. Now that the High Republic series is wrapped up, I would actually love to go back and reread some of these and see how I feel about the books now that the entire series has been written. I don't know if I'd, have to read all of them, because these are also like the adult novels, the young adult, and the middle school ones. I might just do the adult novels on reread. Light of the Jedi was probably my favorite, and this is probably the first book I ever read that I thought, I actually might like this as much as Heir to the Empire. So I'm kind of tempted to go back and reread those books to see, upon a second reading, do I still feel that way? Or is Heir to the Empire still clearly my favorite? So these are the last books I have in the new canon. And like there you do have a lot of the new Thrawn books that Timothy Zahn's written. Reign of the Empire, Mask of Fear is a really cool new book that came out this year. I really loved a lot. It's really cool. I really enjoyed that a lot. I'm looking forward to that series that just started. And probably my favorite book I've read outside of the High Republic series is that last one right there, The Rise and Fall of the Galactic Empire. An amazing, basically non-fiction book written within the Star Wars universe. Absolutely loved it, and I'm hoping they do more books like that as well. And lastly, here are those books I mentioned that don't fit on my main Star Wars bookcase anymore. So you have the Star Wars Shakespeare books, which there's all the 9 movies. Basically, it's a Shakespearean play version of the movie plots, which are actually amazing, so fun, so interesting. I love those a lot. And then you get a lot more into those reference books I mentioned, which I was kind of bummed when I reached the point where I had to move these off the shelf. I was like, well, that'll be an easy way to gain me more room. It gave me about another year I'd be able to fit all my Star Wars novels onto one bookcase. But sadly, I'm now reaching the point where that's no longer possible. So that's the tour of my Star Wars books. If you have any specific questions about any of the books in my collection, let me know. If you have any ideas or suggestions on how you think I could maybe better organize my collection or strategize how I can keep them all more together. If you have any ideas about how I can turn that closet door into a bookcase and still be a closet door and not be insanely expensive, let me know that as well. I love my Star Wars books. I'm still going to have this case as my main thing. I'm just slowly, some of my Star Wars books are going to have to take over some of those room over here. So I'm going to have to figure that out. But anyway, that's a tour of my Star Wars books. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. If you have yet, please hit the like button. If you're not a subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate the support. Obviously, I do a lot of Star Wars book content on here, so if you enjoy this story, you'll probably enjoy stuff I do on my channel. So thanks for watching. I'll see you the next time, and may the Force be with you.